All right, we live. What's up, YouTube? You have tuned into the Power of Ownership podcast. This is your host, Brandon B. Dixon. I'm with my special guest, Mr. Andy Marikowska. Did I say it right?
It's okay. It's pronounced Andy.
Right. Now, this is my brother from the same mother. You know, I'll let him introduce himself. I don't want to take all your clout right quick.
Hi, I'm Andy Marzinkowska.
Marzinkowska, gotcha.
Oh, full introduction.
Yeah, full introduction.
So,
what do you do?
I work for the Boy Scouts of America. I'm a district executive, which would be the South Cyprus area. And I've other done things like publishing books, writing screenplays, and just recently incorporated, we got my LLC for a game design company, and we're going to be going to market next month with 1,000 decks. We have distribution set up here in Houston with nearly 20 gaming stores. So that's kind of what's on my horizon.
Mm-hmm. And what else? You want to tell them, like NBA, what else?
Oh yeah, NBA, Texas A&M, class of 2003.
Right. Full background, let them know.
All right, so let's see.
Also Freemason, right?
Right, so 12 years of Freemasonry. I'm a past master. 32nd degree, Knight Commander Court of Honor, means I get a red hat.
Right.
Not a MAGA one, but more of a bell cap.
Right.
Anyway, I'm a Shriner, so it's been fun working with the children's hospitals. Scottish Rite also has a children's hospital up in Dallas. Let's see what else. York Rite, in particular, just the chapter and council. And anything else? I guess that's about it.
Yours is a lot longer than mine. No pun intended. Well, those who first time tuning in, I'm Brandon B. Dixon. I'm a author, published author, sales trainer, entrepreneur, and a mortgage broker. And this is the Power of Ownership podcast. And the premise of the show is that we talk about ownership of not only businesses and properties, intellectual properties, but also we bridge the gap between ownership of the mind, the body, and the soul. So we kind of take it a step further and try to talk about the internal alchemization of things to create, basically.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we talk about. That's the premise of the show. If you hadn't checked out any previous show before, please go back. They're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, all of the outlets. YouTube, we're just starting the YouTube. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and we're going to hit you every Sunday with new episodes. And if you want to guest star, just call me 832-775-8357. I'll be happy to have you. I wanted to hop into this conversation this week about. I had a premonition. I had a thought, and I like to talk about what I was thinking about this week.
Okay. And
one of the things I was thinking about is the difference between understanding, overstanding, and understanding.
I love his vocabulary and talking about words. So I think I understand understanding.
Right.
So where does overstanding, what does that look like?
Well, this is what I had, and people that know me know that I meditate a lot. I try to meditate like at least an hour a day. Sometimes I get caught up in 2. And a lot of stuff I pull, a lot of people ask where you get your creativity, your drive, and stuff like that. I pull from a different source, through going within, going to meditation. And what it revealed to me this week is that understanding is basically what the masses try to feed us.
Right.
To get you the agreement, the agreement about every sentient being.
Okay.
Overstanding is the woke crowd. Let's go on a step further. Let me scratch beneath the surface. Let me dig and intellectualize this thing. Let me fill myself with trying to not dissect this. The understanding is the alchemization of both. It's the living what you're supposed to do, and that's the Christ. That's the in between. That's the equilibrium. And so, and I came to the conclusion that it's not either side. It's the middle.
Right.
Which is the right path, or what it's supposed to be. So not just understanding, because that's elementary. and I can't beat people up with overstanding.
No, because they don't know where that's coming from.
Right.
As you say, what it sounds like to me is that overstanding is another way of saying that I understand where what I'm supposed to understand is coming from.
Right.
What was
The
that
source,
source?
yeah.
And so, and then right, that's browbeating. You can't like pry open someone's third eye, without them despising you. So.
Right. Yeah, that's how I had to learn that the hard way. I mean, just giving my story real quick. Those that don't know, I'm a preacher's son, a pastor's son, or a bishop's son, or whatever his title is this week. So strong Christian roots, coming in. But something as a teenager, I just questioned a lot. So I just had a lot of questions. So I went to studying and stuff like that. So I, just started questioning how did a guy live in a whale? How did all these species of animals put on one boat and stuff like that? Like this is
allegory.
Yeah,
tell us it was, but it's allegory.
Right, but as a kid and as you go into Sunday school, most even adults now believe this is literal history.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, quick story. So as a teenager, you have that warrior spirit. So I just debated everybody.
Oh.
I would tear my dad up. I would tear all of his preacher friends up. Debating everybody.
Like Jesus did in the temple.
right. So that way I got to, and like Killer Priest said, one of my favorite artists from Wu-Tang, he said, I studied till my eyes were swollen. And I used to study just from a pure egoic stance, just to try to beat them.
Yeah.
So that was the overstanding part. So, and it didn't work. Nobody I got into arguments with about doctrine or dogma ever converted. Ever.
Nope.
Ever changed their mind. In fact, they doubled down.
Yeah. You became what they fought against.
Right.
Like, yeah. They would get more evidence for their side just to be able to combat you in that way. It's always a opposition.
It's always an opposition. So
Yeah.
it doesn't work to overstand or to over-intellect. You cannot over-intellectualize this knowledge, these symbols, these things that were revealed. So yes, you should scratch beneath the surface and get all the knowledge you can, but to activate it, you have to internalize it.
Right.
And live it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what I came up with, and a lot of it is just that tribunal thing again. It's that Trinity again.
Yep.
Because understanding, that's the female, overstanding, that's the male, the phallus, the doer, and the alchemy of both. The son is the understanding. That's the Christ.
Well, even go into physiology, that if you take an electron microscope and keep going down, you'll see that cell division wall. It'll always be there,
right,
in between something. So it'll always have the inside, the outside, and this divide in between that goes down all the way. Then it goes all the way up into the cosmos. But yeah, there's always some divide.
Right. There's
perceived
division. Yeah. I mean, it's all one, but that's kind of the thing I came up with. Tell them a little bit about your story. Did you have a situation where you tried to beat somebody into your way of thinking and
the
overstanding part?
And I got charges of heresy leveled against me for it. Went to 12 years of Catholic school. I was an altar boy.
Right.
Don't worry, he was a drinker, not a toucher. An Irish Catholic priest. But it was actually in the school. Had a senior theology teacher who had almost like a forum where he was, or thought he was, adept enough to shut down any hypothetical conversation. Hey, Father, if we were on a desert island, would this be okay? That kind of stuff that he thought he had heard it all. And I had some, at the time I was a virgin, so I wasn't even having premarital sex, but I told him, I was like, I don't get it how if me and Heather, this girl sitting in front of me, I was like, can I use you as a volunteer? She's like, fine. It's like, okay, so me and Heather, we're going to get married, but our parents won't let us because we're still in school, but we're both 17, but we're having sex. So we love each other, so we're just waiting on man's law to where our sex is condoned by God?
Mm-hmm.
You know, weren't when two or more are gathered in a loving act, isn't God there present? And
Right.
no, Andy, you are twisting scripture to fit your own wicked deeds. I was like, hey, I'm just trying to understand what you're selling here.
Right.
Pulls me aside from class, and bells rung. And Andy, I need you to stay here a little bit after and have somebody else stay with me. And I don't know why he was asked, but I guess now looking back, he's like, he wanted a witness to you know what he actually said, and told me he's thinking about bringing charges of heresy against me. And I told him, you know, Mr. Shimmick, you're going to have to do whatever it is you feel is right. But I got to get to my next class or I'll be tardy, and that's real consequences.
Right.
And that's just kind of where I left, you know, kept my mouth shut the rest of the year, went off to A&M without a religion, you know, being not even angry at God, but just like the whole damn thing is made up by the Romans. You know, there never was even a Jesus. You know, all that kind of stuff. And then I went into Buddhism, starting with Zen, and I've had 0 converts from Buddhism. You know, but the thing was, as more I got into it, Buddha, Christ, Sangha, church, you know, Dharma,
Krishna.
Holy Spirit. Yeah, that you wind up seeing like, wow, that whole thing was. Yeah, and it's just a story that's told over and over again, but it's not like the zodiac sign hidden in plain view. It's a story of a human being that has been transcended, and then especially then through Freemasonry. Again, I quit picking on Christians actually after I became a Mason because.
Right.
You know,
well, we swore to.
You shouldn't be doing that
Right,
anyways.
you should be doing it,
But yeah, same thing like you're saying, that pointing out fallacies from my now objective realm of view of Christianity didn't do anything but serve to piss them off, you know.
Right.
And they double down, and so.
Well, this is the thing, great story, but this is the thing that I take from it. You know, just revisiting the story is that a lot of people, and especially my family, and especially people I know, they tie their beliefs to that person that led it to, like the grandma, the family member. Right. So when you attack their beliefs, you're attacking not the belief itself, you're attacking that family member.
Whole family tree.
Right. Yep. So you're attacking that family. So that's why they have that cognitive dissonance and shut down.
Yep.
So you're not really attacking the dogma itself. You know, you're attacking their family, and they get a defensive posture.
That's right.
So it's a lose-lose. You know, one of the books that I love that kind of taught me this along with experience is Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. You know, read that book. You know, that's one of the best sales besides my book, Sales: The Nucleus of Winning Profession. But you know, I had to get a plug before the end of the show. But Dale Carnegie, that's a prolific book because it teaches you that no matter if you win that battle, you're going to lose that war.
Right. You convinced them that they're wrong, and now they're not your friend anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they're actually going to double down and go in the other way. The best thing is like we take, you know, is just to meet them at the level that they're on.
Right.
You know, and let me enhance you at the level that you're on.
Right. The rising tide raises all ships.
Right. And let me take it a different angle as well. Instead of, you know, let's take it to a cliche. Instead of talking about it, let's be about it.
Okay. Right.
So that's what.
What does that look like?
Yeah. That's. I put a post on.
We're being about it.
Right. This thing I put on a post on Facebook about a week ago. I said, "What if you are the Messiah that you're waiting on?" And nothing changes until you get up and get your butt up and do something about it and change the world. You have the capability.
Yeah.
You know, so this is a good segue to my second portion of what I want to say. I'll talk about action, but let me dig down a little bit deeper into this point. But the whole thing about understanding is that when you understand and open that heart chakra, then you feel compelled to do something.
Right. That's the action center. That's
the action. That heart. The heart. They say in ancient Egyptians used to throw away the brain. They used to keep the heart. They said the heart was more powerful than the brain. You see what I'm saying? Because think about it, the mind is not necessarily the brain. The mind can be anywhere. The mind who knows where the mind is? Some people say the mind is in the heart. Because you can't cut your head open and see thoughts.
You can't cut anything open.
Right, and where are the thoughts coming from? We don't know. So the thing is that heart chakra, and that's why you always see the picture of Christ with the heart that symbolizes that green, that heart chakra. Once that's open, that's when you have that sympathy for man, that unconditional love. No matter how much they spite and try to crucify you, you're still going to fulfill that mission and want to better not only yourself, but better mankind in general.
That's also why you always see the halo too. It's a representation of the Keter, the top chakra.
Right, the Christ chakra, the crown chakra, the violet.
Jewel of the lotus.
Right. So my thing is that instead of trying to the people that super woke, my super woke crowd.
Right.
Again, this podcast is not just for the super woke; it's for the beginners as well. You're not getting anywhere by debating with the people that's not on that level.
Right.
You can't intellectualize this knowledge. You can, but you can't, if that makes sense. Intellectualize it, but then put it to action.
Right. You can intellectually understand the 8 precepts of Buddhism. Okay. But if you don't actually do them, they're basically the same things as the 10 Commandments. But until you actually put that into practice, then great, you memorize something.
Right.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Glad you know it.
Right.
Right.
You're doing no better than what we learn at school. We learn all this algebra and stuff like that, never use any of that stuff. So what are we doing? We're in school, we're basically spinning our wheels and not putting anything into action.
Well, yeah. My whole thing with the education system is the American government gets whatever they want and they'll pay for it.
Right.
So think about that this is what they want, is for us to be that way.
Right.
And at the same time, though, I guess what's neat, as free as the country is, there isn't a force holding down on letting people out. Almost kind of like at the end of the Matrix, they're talking about the ones that want to wake up, we'll just let them wake up.
If they want to be free.
But the other part of that was that those people waking up kind of made they weren't going to be messing with the Matrix anymore, trying to get them all woke. It's just the ones that want to.
This is the thing. Not to cut you off, but
go ahead.
It relates perfectly. I wasn't going to go there because it probably might get a little bit too complex for my novice audience.
Right.
But here goes your Trinity one more time. The architect is the father, the oracle is the mother, Neo is the son. Who is Agent Smith? Agent Smith is Lucifer.
Agent Smith was the one.
You can look, but they're twins. This is
right. There were 2 parts.
Right, they're 2 parts. And the thing happened with, first of all, if you look at the film, everything was the Matrix. You thought you were out free in Zion, but that was the Matrix as well. So you couldn't escape it.
Right.
For those that go back and look at the movie, that's why he was moving stuff outside of the Matrix as well, because he figured out, oh, damn, I could, do the same thing I could do. It was all a program.
Right.
So, again, even the architect said this at the beginning, the whole thing is that he had to create this program of choice in order for you to accept the program.
Yeah. When it was bliss, you just kept waking up.
Right, you kept waking up. So you think you have a choice, but it's all the grand scheme of things. But as far as the movie didn't end until Neo understood his mission.
Yeah.
And the architect told him, you're going to die. Period.
Right. Your whole condition was put for that.
Right.
Yeah.
This is your mission. Once he understood what he had to do, that's when everything, and again, Smith was the badass. He was the Lucifer. He was the light bearer. He wanted out.
Yeah.
Neo thought he wanted out, but he didn't. He had more compassion for the cycle to keep it going. That's why the Trinity was there. It's the human cycle to keep us going.
Isn't that wild?
But getting off that subject, I don't want to get too deep. But it's a good segue to my second, and this was even on my mind earlier, driving to here, is that why are we so paralyzed when it comes to taking action? Let's start off with the basics, and then let's go to more esoteric and occult. But why? I understand. We talked a little bit last week about the dogma, why dogma has people frozen. I can't, for the life of me, I'll go ahead and let you chime in and I'll go in. I can't for the life of me figure out how some people talk.
And then nothing.
Nothing.
No action. No, just all steam.
I can't.
All steam and no kettle.
All bark, no bite.
Right. I would say that what we're hearing when people do that kind of thing is they're trying to psych themselves up. They're trying to gas themselves up. And the reason why they're having to do that is because they don't have tools. They don't have working tools. They don't have sets of sentences to say, that they don't know how to break the ice with, oh, that's a lovely necklace. Those are pretty earrings. Just anything authentic to say to get a genuine conversation. What's that pin about? I've never seen that symbol. Just anything to do that. They don't, and I think that's what their hesitation is, their uncomfortableness in that they've never been taught how to, other than say, aggressively get people into your life and go into theirs. That I think that's really what it all comes down to. They have these ideas, and they're wonderful ideas, but they've never been taught. Like, they don't teach in school or even in college
To create.
simple sales tactics of, introduction, bullet points, close, rehash. They don't. That's not. And when you learn those kind of things, then you wind up, 5-stepping the grocery store guy. And you get to know something about him, and you wind up listening. I think what sales to me does is it teaches someone how to set someone else up to talk so that you can listen to them and get to know what's important to them, what's on their mind. And I think maybe that's what it comes down to. That's why everybody's so paralyzed with their dreams and their motivation, is they just don't have the skill sets. Because they've never been presented. You got a PhD. That's fantastic, but you don't know how to talk to anyone because they didn't go get a PhD with you.
Right.
Right.
You can't relate.
Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect plug for my book, because that's what.
I don't know if you set me up for that, but that's
right.
what I was going.
That was the perfect plug for the book, because that's exactly what I teach. I mean, without sales, you can't. You're nothing, because everything is sales. Even when if you whatever you want to be, it's some type of sales behind it. If you want a beautiful woman, you have to sell that woman that you're the one to marry. If you want a job, you have to sell that person that you're the best candidate for the job. Whatever you want in life, you have to sell. So this is for the beginners. It gives you that 7-step process and those talking points and that structure, that roadmap to getting what you want out of life. So this is more than a sales book. This is a life-changing book.
That's right. And every book I've ever read that I read for a sales job or any kind of thing like that, I kind of felt that my human essence kind of levels up, that you either A, you're going back over material that you didn't really internalize, or B, you're getting some new good stuff, some new tools. So another quick example about just a real world example. So I'm in a singles group, Events and Adventures, kind of one of their hosts on standby, and one of the newer members, she's a self-retired engineer. She had made plenty of money. She has no kids. She wound up getting divorced, and after like 10 years. And so anyway, we've gotten to know each other, and she knows that I'm into entrepreneurship and that I've been on many different sales campaigns and fundraising. So she just out of the blue one day, she calls me up and asks me if I can start recommending her books and stuff like that. I'm gonna drop that on her next. And I just went back to the classics. A Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, and then just a little bit of Tony Robbins in there, just to get her in the mindset that you have to be in a different mindset if you're going to be going out there and trying to sell. But the reason why I asked her is what are you going to try to be on the sales side of engineering? Are you going to try to start selling bids and everything like that? You're going out of the from behind the desk? And she's like, no, I just think it would be. I just think it's important in life to be able to know how to sell something. And I was like that, an engineer, Anyway, but yeah, she.
Hope she watches the show. You send her a link once it comes up. So I'm glad you made that point. I didn't see the point coming, but that's a great point.
She decided on her own that was being proficient at sales, even though she's not going to be selling anything, just that dialogue, that vocabulary.
Able to be instead of switching over from an introvert to extrovert,
Essentially.
is important.
Yeah.
Because the old cliche, the closed mouth don't get fed. Period. Dwelling on that point, I want to make my point real quick. What I think it is, just to piggyback your point.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't sell it, I don't care what idea that you have. If you can't sell it and market it, it's dead. A lot of people come up with these great ideas and I want to be this, I want to be
You
that.
remember the Palm Pilot?
Right.
They didn't sell it.
Right.
Now it's
But
an Apple.
it's the push, it's the grind, it's the call, the journey from obscurity is the true creationism, is the true alchemy. Because ideas come from everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of people have ideas. The alchemy takes place is when you can take that from obscure to mainstream. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
And sales is one of those working tools for you to help you create that reality. If you can't sell it, think about it. Pet rocks got sold in the 70s. Dude took, for those who don't know, for the millennials, in the 70s, they had a guy that his friends owned a quarry.
Smooth river rocks.
Right.
And
put a rock, didn't even do anything to it, in a box and named it. And he made $1 million. And he got the rocks for free.
And then he sold things like leashes for his
Right.
he accessorized his
Right.
rock.
That's a leash. So you can have the worst idea, and if you're able to market and sell it, you can make your dreams come true, or you can make your ideas become flesh.
Yep.
Vice versa, you can have the best ideas, and you have you don't know how to push it. You don't have the patience or the working tools or the skill set to make it into fruition. It won't.
No.
That's just what it is. Or somebody else will take it and make it for you, and you'll be mad. So I think let me get to my point now. I mean, that's a great point about the working tools of sales. That's essential. That's why I tell my books, this is life changing. Buy the book. It'll change your life. You make 6 figures, period. My thing is, I think I'm going to start from like just the base, and then I'll go up to like esoteric a little bit.
Okay.
I think people are scared is fear.
Yeah. Fear or laziness. It's one
I
of the
think
other.
fear, the laziness comes from the fear.
It's a validation of it.
There's a validation of the fear.
Yeah.
They're scared of the unknown. Also coupled with I've been programmed to trade currency for time.
Yeah.
Then the third thing is average is the new failure. Everybody's goal is to be average now. So most people if your priority is to be last place or in the middle of the pack, then you're gonna wind up being last place. So it's 3 things. It's the fear, it's the it's more than 3 things. It's before when you don't have the working tools, it's the fear, it's the actual your goals are messed up, and it's the actual I lost before.
Laziness.
Laziness, so that's one of the things that you're scared. You want to trade time for money, and
Because that's safe.
right, because it's safe.
It's a proven method.
Right.
Everybody does it. Yeah.
On this side, family, if you don't know, there's things I'm doing like right now. Now I get a little bit of money from sponsors and everything like that, but this is not to.
And we'll continue to long after we've done with this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not getting paid. But this thing will build up and building my brand and building my market to facilitate payment later on.
And when somebody goes back and listens to a year's worth of your things, you're going to get clicks for every single one of them.
Right. So immediate gratification in entrepreneurship doesn't go hand in hand. It's 2 different things. It's that grind, and I said this in an earlier podcast, is that look at Tom Brady. He practiced all those years, and this didn't start with this year. It started when he was a teenager,
Probably before
throwing
that.
the ball in the yard, or when he was a kid.
I would say elementary school.
All of those years for
Nerf ball.
those series of moments.
Yep.
So think about it. It's just like with anything. If you eat your favorite meal every day, the thrill is gone. The gratification is gone.
Yeah.
The longer the build up, that's the better gratification that you're going to get.
Yeah.
So
we set ourselves up with anticipation.
right, we want everything instant, and everything that's instant is not going to satisfy you. First of all, and it's going to be easily obtainable. If you want success, and what I mean by success, we got to define success. Define success, what it means to me, and what it should mean to most other people, is when you don't have to work for money. Money works for you.
Financial independence.
When you can create and influence your own life.
Yep.
This is the thing. That's my definition of success. When I want to create, I create. I don't have to have permission.
That's right.
I don't have to check with somebody
You don't
else.
even have to have plans. You just
Right.
get after and start doing it. Learn from failure.
If that's success to me, going to a job and having a BMW where you're working just to have those go back and forth to work, basically.
Right.
You're going back and forth to work in style.
Yeah.
So quote unquote, but you're spending primarily most of your time building somebody else's creation.
Yeah.
That's not my definition of success.
And we would go back into why aren't more people on this side of success? They think that they're successful. They feel successful because they've got a beautiful family, beautiful cars, beautiful homes, a great job. And again, here we are sitting here. We can't browbeat them and say you're doing it wrong because look at their results. They're obviously getting something out of it. But I guess something about the sales cycle is, as you were talking, that jumped in there, moving it even beyond just esoteric, but into like quantum theory, that when you have a sales training from rudimentary all the way to you are a worldwide sales trainer, your thoughts and your actions bring about new realities by making space and possibilities for things.
Correct.
Whereas if you're on the other side of the 9 to 5, if you're on the safe side,
right,
that you don't wind up doing those kinds of things unless you read something like The Secret or got into something esoteric.
Right.
But in the sales side, that's why you always see these salespeople that are just so high energy. People love to be around them and and be a part of that because they're creating where everyone else is, like you said, just consuming it, and they're consuming every single day. Whereas on the creator side,
and they'll never be satisfied.
Yeah, you're moving forward on a destination that you set out for yourself, and that's just kind of
people have to realize the difference between satisfied and settled.
Yes.
So eventually you will become content with what you have, but that essence that we were here for, that we were created for, to be many creators, you've lost that eventually, or you become numb to it. That urge, that passion. If you look at the etymology of passion, what does it mean? It means pressure. It means friction. So you lost that passion. You just going with the flow. But just to get more esoteric, let's take it a step further. My theory is, and again, when I see people that follow the show, I'll disclaim it. I think that most people come incarnate to be on vacation.
They would all. What's the rule of, if I gave you as much money as you ever wanted, what would you be doing?
Right.
Most of them would be on vacation.
Right. Yeah. So most of them, this is a vacation. That's why you could, just to use a metaphor, you shrugging them, they don't want to wake up.
Right.
I'm sleeping. I'm enjoying my sleep. Let them sleep. So they don't want to fulfill their potential. They don't want to live up to their potential. They want to, even in the Matrix, he's like, what the Cypher say, he was like, I want to be somebody important. I don't want to remember anything.
Right.
So.
I know this steak isn't real.
Yeah, I know it isn't real, but
it tastes
ignorance
great.
is bliss.
Yeah.
So.
And it is. Because once you're on the other side of ignorance, then you see it, and it is a constant stick in the eye.
Right.
Like on the other side of white privilege, that part of the white privilege was not even being aware that there was this entire oppressive culture. It's not even like it's laws, like the caste system. It's just this strange confluence of industrial complexes that is putting it down. And now when you see it, you know, you just like, okay, like the shooter. That's a suspect, the alleged shooter.
Right,
oh yeah, let him be black. That's the perpetrator.
Right.
You know, that took it into custody is code for the shooter was white.
Right.
You know, and perpetrator and dead is that was a black guy. And that's just, and when you see that, it's just it's a stick in the eye. It's you know, it just pokes you, and I think they don't want that.
Right. They don't want to.
Yeah.
That means at that point, and it goes back to the laziness, even on the esoteric level. If I know, then I have to respond to my ability. It's my responsibility now to actually do something. And I don't want to do it. I want to go on vacation and go on these cruises. And I want to just not think about it being in charge of a group of people and thinking and stuff like that. I don't want to think. I just want to watch these Netflix.
What do I have to do? What time do we get off?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to be led. So it's that duality. Sometimes you can't be on the leader side. Now, the people I'm speaking with is the people that have that urge and that want to come on this side.
Spark and curiosity.
That spark.
Yeah.
This is my audience, I believe. And I hope, you know, and of course you're going to have haters that, you know, look to spite, but the people I'm speaking directly to and the people that I want to motivate is the people that have that spark and just don't have the guidance or need the advice, or don't have the advice to get you over that hump. My thing is go ahead and, again, like I say every episode, go within, meditate, find yourself, seek, you should find, knocking the door should be open until you got to knock. Once you knock,
don't get fed.
Yeah, once you knock, that action, it's going to happen. You got to trust the process. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to invest in yourself, buy my book, spend $20, buy the book, learn how to sell, create your product, and pitch it. That's the grind.
Product or service, yeah. Yeah, something you can teach other people, they'll be building up your stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great segue to the last segment of the show, is that Andrew Yang, he's running for president 2020, and he said that by 2053, the quote unquote, this is a colloquial term, but I'll use it, the African American, that's two continents, that's two different things. But anyway, that community will be at zero because the economic structure will have shifted to more digital and selling and marketing. That's what it's going to be. In artificial intelligence, the software is taking over.
Oh yeah.
And the jobs that we hold that is not super high skill, but in that middle, that's going to be the truck drivers, the cashiers, the clerks.
All the menial, repetitive stuff.
Non-thinking jobs are going to fall by the wayside in the next 30 years.
Robots don't overcook your meat or spit in your food.
Right, exactly.
So yeah.
So
no more freaking food poisoning because it was all done by a robot. Not we don't have to worry about that. So I'm all on board for that. This AI taking over because it frees up humans to be humans, and not have to be.
Or you can throw off victim and become even more a slave than you already are. If you don't be proactive and do something about it.
Look, I like to be positive, so I was throwing that out there, but we all know what the reality is probably going to be.
Right. But my point is that I want to stress the importance of people that might have that spark. Now is the time to act. Don't wait.
Now.
Learn how to sell, learn how to market. That way you don't fall by the wayside. Because if you're a truck driver now,